So, are we getting a Nintendo Direct this week, or what? Because it seems like that's all anybody's been talking about for the last, I don't know, 7 years. Okay, on a serious note, obviously there was like some kind of rumor that there was going to be a Nintendo Direct this week. It might still come, it might not, I'm not sure, I doubt it. But what I still think is very interesting is just how much content is made every week from these Directs. Or rather, from these rumors specifically. And what's wild to me is not necessarily how much content is made, but just how many views are picked up for these creators. Because I genuinely find it bizarre to see how many times, just in this last year alone, we've gone through weeks of fake directs that were coming for sure very soon, only to see that the rumors and leaks were obviously incorrect. But seemingly the audience doesn't really learn anything from that. There's a sense of hope that seems to exist automatically, and there are seemingly never any lessons learned or people held accountable. Look, I'll keep this as vague as possible because I don't want to put anybody on blast specifically, but if you just use the YouTube search function, search the word Nintendo Direct, click on all of those popular and recognizable Nintendo YouTubing names that are popping up in front of your face, and look at their videos over the last month, right? Because there's been rumors of a new Nintendo Direct since the turn of the new year, so maybe even the last month and a half. Look at not only how many of those videos involve something related to a Direct, but the difference in the view counts for those videos that relate to Directs versus something that's just random. And of course, give them some bonus points if the thumbnail contains some giant letter of a word where it involves something surprising with an exclamation mark at the end. And there's always huge news and huge leaks and huge rumors, because this is the kind of stuff that seems to entice the audience. On pretty much every one of these channels, anything involving the word Direct or a thumbnail that contains Nintendo Direct has more views than the videos that are before and after it. And what's even crazier is how quickly that mill turns. So again, keep in mind this has been going on for the better part of a decade, but we're going to look at a very small window. As soon as we hit January, the videos start coming up about whether or not we're going to be getting a January Direct. And then of course the conversation is about how likely it is. People start making estimates of what's going to happen in all of 2026, why this is going to be the most important year for Nintendo. All of that speculation as they wait for the inevitable rumor or announcement of a Direct that's going to be coming up. Now in this year's case, it ended up being a partner Direct. Now the source was Nate the Hate, and I made a video about this, talking about the way that Nate the Hate was spreading that news out. You could tell that he was leaning a lot more towards it being a partner Direct rather than a general Direct. And not only that, it seems like most of his connections are third-party publishers anyway. It's not directly from Nintendo. So normally if Nate knows it's coming, it's because he found out through some kind of a third party. But still, given the tone of his voice when he released the information of a potential upcoming Direct, and he was actually right about the Direct coming, it sounded pretty obvious that it was going to be third party. And that's why I made a video about it, and I was exactly right about it. And I said it back then, and I still believe it to be true now, that anybody that was making videos or even publishing articles, because a lot of the Nintendo news channels were doing this as well, anybody releasing news based off of what Nate the Hate had said knew that it was not going to be a general Direct. But of course, all of that hype and all of that discussion was there, so they had to take advantage of it. But what I thought was insane was how quickly we just moved right on from that. Nintendo announces a partner Direct, we have the partner Direct, there are reactions to the partner Direct. Most people found that partner Direct to be very underwhelming. The reality was there was just nothing to talk about. But then conveniently, almost immediately after, there's another supposed leak or announcement or a rumor that there was going to be a general Direct in the third week of February. And look, again, just to reiterate, something could happen this week. I'm not saying there's not going to be anything happening. But we've seen this same scenario play out in the past where we don't have anything happen on that third week. And we might not get anything over the next 2 days, and this might just be another one of those moments. But that doesn't change what the conversations have looked at over the past few weeks now. Almost the exact same talking points and the exact same discussions were birthed once again. 3D Mario, Zelda 40th, exciting news, exciting rumors, your shocked face on camera. It's all been happening for the better part of a decade, and every single one of these content creators and these news outlets are fully aware of exactly what they're doing. Most of the time, they are fully aware that nothing is coming, but that's boring. That's not going to get you clicks. That's not going to get you views. They want to get the viewers to come in even if something doesn't exist. And this is just for the Directs without talking about the content that's going to be in them. Right? Like right now, the hot topic is the 3D Mario game. When's that coming? When's that coming? That game could very well be another 2 or 3 years out. There's nothing that indicates otherwise. We know that it was made by the Odyssey team. People have assumed that half of that team was not working on Donkey Kong Bonanza. Even if the other half was working on a new 3D Mario, that doesn't mean that 3D Mario is even remotely close to finishing. I think it's easier to take things at face value and assume that the new Donkey Kong 3D platformer that was made by the Mario Odyssey team is the new 3D platformer for the Switch 2, at least for the next few years. And if that's not the case, then you can celebrate when there's an announcement of a 3D Mario, rather than assuming there's going to be a 3D Mario, because right now we are 8 months into this console's life, and for the past 8 months, people have been adamant that there was going to be an announcement of a 3D Mario every single month. But even outside of the software, if you think back to 2021 until now, most of these big YouTubers that cover news, what did they talk about? It was basically like 3 things over those 3 years. Ironically, they generated a whole bunch of negativity into the algorithm by just complaining about the Switch one being too weak, suggesting that it was clearly time for Nintendo to announce an upgrade to the Switch. And a whole lot of people got behind that because of the PS5. And that's what led to all of the Switch Pro rumors. And those rumors kept people fed for a very long time. Then the Switch OLED comes out. Almost immediately after the OLED was released, people started talking about how this was clearly not the rumored Switch Pro, there's going to be a Switch Pro still. And then basically we just spent the next 3 years back and forth with every single month discussion about either the Switch Pro or the Switch 2 or the next console, etc. But through the entirety of that discussion, there was no proof of anything. It was all just nothing, just preying on people's hope, preying on the appetite of people that just want Nintendo to release a good game, or eventually a new console so that there could be good games on there. And look, I've talked a lot on this channel about how the patterns with the fandoms, and it's not just exclusive to Nintendo, mind you, but the patterns of the fandoms and the way that they go through these same cycles over and over again are kind of insane. Like specifically thinking about the release of Mario Tennis Fever recently, where the game was announced and everybody was like, oh, this is going to be the sports title that changes everything. And then the reviews come out and it's like, oh, this is more of the same. The single player adventure that everybody expected was a 2.5-hour tutorial followed by an 1.5 hour of fun gameplay. But that applies to these never-ending direct rumors and these direct announcements as well. And I find it odd just how much the Nintendo fandom specifically accepts this. Because at the end of the day, it's a detriment to the actual Nintendo community. Right, like nobody's benefiting over here. I don't necessarily know if Nintendo benefits from this, because all it creates is a bunch of fans who have expectations that are too high. Then again, those high expectations and those incorrect assumptions are what cause people to buy stuff without realizing what they're actually buying half the time, so maybe there is a benefit to Nintendo's end. But the fans don't benefit, because then they're just frequently getting their hopes up way too high before being completely let down. Obviously, the benefit here goes to the content creators and the news outlets, because they just get to point at the leaker and be like, well, he said it, not me. And I do wonder how many of them are connected, by the way. Like when one of these guys creates leaks or rumors, causing the next 2 or 3 weeks of just ad revenue flowing into every single content creator's pockets, it almost seems odd to think that there's not some kind of an understanding between them. Especially because like a lot of them are connected through Twitter, for example. Some of them have been guests on each other's YouTube channels. So I wonder if it's like, hey, you take the fall this time, say that there's something coming up, we'll make a bunch of videos off of it. Next time, he'll take the fall. I don't know, it just seems awfully convenient. I mean, even when you think about the beat-em-ups thing that happened last year, I don't necessarily think Wood was doing that just off his own accord. Although, I don't know, he might have been. He has a very hard personality to read, to be honest. But the thing that's certain is that not only did he make a bunch of money off of it, but so many other content creators did as well. And it just seems awfully convenient of the timing of when that happened and all of the hype that happened because of it. I don't know, man. Look, I've said this in the past. Pretty much every single one of these mainstream daily news Nintendo YouTubers that are out there right now, I never followed their channels, because it always felt like they were full of BS. And I'm talking about the big ones specifically. I think all of them are capable of creating good content, and they have created good content. But anytime they steer too deep about potential rumors or something new or some kind of a leak, that was usually around the time where I was like, all right, I don't think I'm clicking on this video anymore. And the weird thing was that I noticed that whenever I would turn away from these channels, that's when they would get the most views, because they're clearly doing it for a reason, because that's the stuff that gets the views. But anyway, in regards to this week's supposed direct, I'm hoping there's an announcement tomorrow that there's going to be a direct this week, because we all know if there's going to be a direct, it's going to be overhyped and it's going to underdeliver, and we get to see all of the aftermath of that. But if there is no direct announced, I do wonder how quickly we'll start seeing rumors of like early March directs. They'll take a break for it for about a week because of the Pokemon stuff next week, but pretty early on somebody will say something about March. And there might very well be something in March, either an indie showcase or a direct about a specific game, or maybe even the general direct. Like, those are all very likely things. But I highly doubt whoever's going to be leaking the information or the rumor about that will have any knowledge about it. But I think at least for the next couple of weeks, and with the upcoming release of Pokopia after that, they might have their news covered for a bit, so we might not get any direct rumors until that dies down. But anyway, I think it'll be kind of fun to keep an eye on that. The direct rumors seem to pop up as soon as news slows down, and I'm wondering if the same thing will happen again. But anyway, that is all I have for right now. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you on the next one.